What's up? You are just in time to the first waiver wire video of 2024. I just want to jump right into it. You really shouldn't be at a point where you need to stash quarterbacks or stream quarterbacks at this position, but you never know. You might have lost Jordan Love. You might feeling spicy. You might not like how your team looked week one. So these are some players to look out for at the quarterback position. First, let's talk about Baker Mayfield. He had a really good game, obviously, 4 touchdowns. It's something that you want to look more into the stats. It's more about how they played as a team. Yes, they beat up on the Commanders, but at the end of the day, his team is healthy. It looks like Baker's going to continue his success from last year, and that's what we like for fantasy football. He also has 2 juicy matchups the next 2 weeks, the Lions and the Broncos. So if you're one of those Jordan Love managers and you just need to string along a couple of wins, a couple of points next few weeks, you could pick up Baker Mayfield and play him confidently. Next, let's talk about Geno Smith. Same thing as Baker. He has weapons at his disposal at every position of the field. He also has the rushing baseline, and we've seen it Sunday with his rushing touchdown. Actually played a tough Broncos defense. Patrick Surtain, for the most part, was able to lock up DK Metcalf. JSN had a rough matchup, but I do think he's going to bounce back, and Tyler Lockett is looking stronger than ever. And if you're feeling really good, go with Sam Darnold. Again, a really good game. They played a poor team, but that's what you expect out of your quarterbacks, to beat up on the bad teams. Jordan Addison seems to be feeling fine. He got rolled up on Sunday. He had to miss a couple of plays because of his ankle, but he should be back next week. Justin Jefferson is looking as good as ever, back as a top 3 wide receiver. For a couple weeks, you really could have it worse. Let's look at the running back position. Justice Hill can not only be stashed as a handcuff, but in certain leagues might have standalone value. Yes, again, it was just 1 week, but he had 6 catches. I don't think the Baltimore Ravens are going to be trailing in most games. It's good to know that Justice Hill carved out a role for himself in this offense. We've already heard the coach say we don't want to give Derrick Henry 30 carries a game. I hear that, and I hear Justice Hill's name. Another name to look out for is Zach Charbonnet. We've seen Kenneth Walker miss a few plays because of injury, and they pretty much gave Charbonnet the rest of the game. The game was already out of contention at that point. Doesn't really matter. This is not the regime that drafted Zach Charbonnet, so to see him getting out into the field, drawing up plays for him specifically, and doing well is a good sign. And probably the number one waiver wire, in my opinion, J.K. Dobbins. All offseason, we know that the Chargers wanted to run the ball. We know that they're going to be a rush-heavy offense, and we thought it was going to be Gus Edwards. It looks like it's going to be J.K. Dobbins. He's looking fully healthy, and he's looking like what ACL. I wouldn't blow really much of or any fab on any of these players except for J.K. Dobbins so far. And I would probably put, maybe $10 or $5 to $10. It's still early. You don't want to blow all your fab, but you could have a top 10 running back in J.K. Dobbins. So to grab him early and not let your teammates get him is very important. And as an honorable mention, I would grab Jeff Wilson and or Jalen Wright. Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert both missed practice and left early with injuries in the previous game. I don't think it's going to be much, but again, something is better than nothing. And I would rather be safe than sorry. So grab Jeff Wilson and Jalen Wright just in case. The receiver position, the number 1 wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals, Greg Dortch. I'm just kidding. But then again, you never really know. He could be the 1B to Marvin Harrison's 1A. Obviously, Marvin Harrison had a terrible game. He is not going to get 1 catch for 4 yards the rest of the season. He's going to get more acclimated as the weeks go by. But Greg Dortch is a sneaky play that could be a valuable option in a top offense. Puka Nacua is out on the IR for at least 4 games. We don't know how he's going to look when he's come back. Remember how Cooper Kupp came back last year and everyone was excited, but you wasn't happy with his production? It might be the same with Puka Nacua. So an important piece to look into is Tyler Johnson. We've seen him slide right into the lineups as soon as Puka got hurt and pretty much held his own. Obviously, Cooper Kupp is the 1A. If there's a 1A, it's Cooper Kupp. Tyler Johnson could probably be the 1, F or G or H, but he's in the lineup, and you can feel confident starting him, especially in a PPR format. Speaking of PPR, I really don't want any of the Giants other than league neighbors, but if I had to, I'd watch out for Wan'Dale Robinson. Again, maybe pick him up for a $0 bid in fab. Don't burn your waiver priority, but this New York Giants is going to be throwing the ball constantly, which means a good thing for Wan'Dale Robinson. He looks like he's finally healthy, and he's finally ready to deliver. And last but not least, let's talk about the tight end position. Speaking of Puka Nacua, there are a lot of targets up for grabs in this offense. Matthew Stafford, game 1, already threw for 300 yards. He's going to be slinging the ball, and he's going to be throwing it to Cooper Kupp, Tyler Johnson, and Kobe Parkinson. Especially with the tight end position looking like it is now, injuries, and just in general, even studs playing abysmal, you could do worse than Kobe Parkinson. Obviously, Isaiah Likely should be on in all formats. He's probably on most teams, but you never know. You got to check. He's not only an important handcuff, but could probably have standalone value Let's see what it looks like week 2. I still wouldn't feel comfortable starting him with Mark Andrews out there. But again, if he continues his dominance in week 2, you could play him in a flex position and feel confident. And last but not least, let's talk about Zach Ertz. Obviously, Ben Sinnott is going to take over eventually, but Zach Ertz played on 73% of snaps for this Washington offense that's going to be trailing in almost every single game. Jaden Daniels is going to put it together. He gave you a boring line of about 4 catches and 50 yards, which is probably what he's going to do most of the time. But again, you could do worse at the tight end position. This offense is going to be throwing the ball a lot, and they're going to be throwing it to Terry McLaurin and Zach Ertz. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.